To be here in Miami today. We have a very encouraging announcement as we're getting ready for the World Cup, as we're going to be welcoming many visitors, a lot of tourists, a lot of capital here in South Florida, which tends to lead to human trafficking and dangers. Today we're going to put evildoers on notice. We have taken down, we've arrested and convicted more human traffickers over the last year than ever before in Florida history. And that is not by accident. That's because our wonderful law enforcement have taken it seriously. They've had more resources, more support. We've prosecuted the cases that they've brought in. And we've also had great partnerships with the business community. Law enforcement is just one piece of the puzzle. Having a business community that might be more likely to see and hear signs of danger, signs of abuse, and work with law enforcement hand in hand to report it and ultimately prosecute these cases is integral to what we're doing here in Florida to fight human trafficking and child predators. We also have great nonprofits and victims advocates that are helping on the front end with awareness, promotion, but also with advocacy and treatment on the back end. So to announce these records today, I'm honored to be joined by FDLE Assistant Commissioner John Vecchio, just promoted from the Special Agent in Charge position. He does great work with us, and we're honored to have him. Mark Wilson, President of the Florida Chamber of Commerce. The Florida Chamber is a little different than some of the other business groups out in the country. They're not just working to fight abusive regulations and help businesses to find success, create jobs, and empower families in the state, but also working in Florida to get the business community more plugged in, helping law enforcement, working with faith-based communities, finding ways to empower people and protect our little ones. Lizzie Pittenger from Uber is here. Uber's been a leading corporate partner in our effort to fight human trafficking, especially here in South Florida. I'll let her share a little bit about what they're doing. We have Aaron Collins, who's the Executive Director of the Florida Alliance to End Human Trafficking. This is the nonprofit the legislature created several years ago to work hand in hand with the state to raise funds and provide new tools in an ever-changing technological world to help law enforcement take down these bad guys. Glad to have Aaron with us. And then finally, Gloria Martinez is here. She's a human trafficking survivor. You'll hear a little bit from her and the work she does at Family Tree of Life nonprofit. She shows you how real it is, how it hits home, but ultimately has been able to turn the abuse and the tough things that happened to her in her life into help for other people. Other victims, other people that are struggling. So we're glad to have Gloria. So today I'm here to announce that since I took office, we have taken down a lot of bad guys. Human trafficking arrests and convictions are both up over 30%. We have a record my office has been a part of now, over 1,600 predator arrests. A lot of these are people that have engaged in child abuse or have tried to do so or have trafficked women and children. Over half the victims of human trafficking are children. And working with the local law enforcement, going undercover, it's disgusting to see how many evildoers are out there seeking to abuse children. It's the most egregious of crimes, and it deserves the most powerful of punishments. So we prosecute to the absolute fullest. If you've been paying attention to our cases here in Florida, you'll see we don't give out plea deals when people go after our kids. We want to get them off the streets, locked away for as long as possible so they cannot hurt our little ones. Our children are a gift from God. They're pure, they're innocent, and they need us to protect them. And if you abuse that, you are going to face the wrath of our prosecutors and our great law enforcement partners. Since I took office, our AG's Office of Statewide Prosecution has increased charges by over 54%. Total prison time has increased by over 10%, and the number of defendants charged has increased by over 30%. All combined, we've levied sentences totaling over 3,275 years in prison, and in just the last year, we've recovered through fines, restitution, costs of prosecution, and seizures over $53 million. Several big cases this last year have led to these results. Last June, About a year ago, we partnered with the U.S. Marshals in a first-of-its-kind, state-of-the-art child rescue mission titled Operation Dragon Eye, where we rescued over 60 children, the largest at that point in history, that were reported missing. Many of these were victims of trafficking that had suffered serious abuse. In September, we had to outdo ourselves. In November, we had to outdo ourselves. In Operation Home for the Holidays, before the holiday season, we were able to go out and rescue even more. In that mission, we brought home over 120 children that were previously reported missing. On a large operation last fall in Polk County, we were able to arrest 230 traffickers and predators. It's touching to see people that are in this for the right reasons. It's a tough topic to work on. It's hard to review this evidence. It's hard to have the conversations with victims. But to see the law enforcement people that work on this, the victims advocates, the nonprofits, there's so much love. There's so many efforts to help get people back on their feet. And you do see goodness and kindness in an area that's riddled with sin and evil. And I want to thank everybody here for being part of that. We're going to continue going after predators with everything we've got. Our legislature has passed laws to bring in heightened penalties, new technologies, new resources, new ways for us to stay ahead of the bad guy. And in today's world of technology, social media, AI, and chatbots, there are so many new hooks for dangerous people to go after our kids. So we've been bringing civil and criminal action against companies that choose profit over public safety, that choose profit over the health and security of our kids. Here in Florida, I think you guys know we're the free state of Florida. We love business. We love innovation. We want people to come here, do good, find success, create jobs, empower families, but not at the expense of our little ones. We will absolutely draw the line. If you've got technologies, if you are smart, you certainly have the ability to put programmatic measures in place that bring in parental involvement, that bring in parental controls, and that send up red flags to law enforcement when you see evidence of abuse. So as we get ready for the World Cup, we're going to be down here in large numbers. We will be working hard with law enforcement. We will be working with our corporate partners. We will leave no stone unturned when it comes to rooting out evildoers, people that want to traffic and go after our women and kids. And we will prosecute, and we will send them away for a long time. So if you're out there, if you're watching, if you're looking to get in some bad behavior this World Cup, I encourage you, do not do that, or you will most certainly pay for it. So with that, I'll turn over to our speakers. And, before we have them come up, I'd like everybody here, thank you for being here, give a round of applause for our law enforcement, because we've got the lowest crime rates in history. So with that, we'll turn it over to FDLE Assistant Commissioner John Vecchio. John.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. I'm Assistant Commissioner John Vecchio of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Human trafficking is a significant threat to our children, families, and visitors. FDLE and our law enforcement partners have prioritized investigations that identify and arrest traffickers, rescue victims, and provide recovery services to those in need. This mission is only successful when law enforcement and prosecutors work together. FDLE agents and analysts work with our partners on these complex investigations. Since January of 2026, FDLE has participated in over 12 undercover operations through our involvement in the First Circuit Human Trafficking Task Force, the Intercept Task Forces, the Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation, the FDLE Human Trafficking Strike Team, and the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Human Trafficking Task Force. Florida welcomes visitors to events like the FIFA World Cup, which are set on the world stage. You need to know that if you come here to victimize Floridians and tourists, you will be arrested and held accountable. We will not tolerate traffickers who look to exploit this event. To our residents and visitors, remain cautious of your surroundings, especially in large gatherings, and report any suspicious activity to your local law enforcement authorities. You may also report suspicious activity to the FDLE website or by calling 1-855-FLA-SFE. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And next from the Florida Chamber, we have Mark Wilson.
All right. Well, thank you, Attorney General. And as the Attorney General said, I'm Mark Wilson. I serve as president of Florida's Chamber of Commerce. And let me just say right up front, there is no place in Florida for human trafficking, period, end stop. Let me also say I came all the way to Miami today because we're a state that has an Attorney General that's dedicated what he can do to protecting kids, right? And so I wanted to be here today because what FDLE is doing, what our Florida sheriffs are doing, this is second to none to anywhere else in the country. And I have a national perspective I wanted to share here, right? People are literally leaving other states, and they're leaving places like Chicago because of high crime where they don't keep people safe. And they're relocating to right here in Miami, which is one of the safest places in the United States now. And we have to honor that. It's safe because we have an Attorney General that said we're going to make this place safe. We have law enforcement, like I said, that's second to none. I also came here today to throw the entire business community's support behind what the Attorney General's doing, behind what local law enforcement's doing. We have literally hundreds of thousands of businesses in Southeast Florida. We have millions of people who work for a living in Southeast Florida. And while we're not on the front lines like the Attorney General is and like law enforcement is, like our sheriffs are, we're a second line of defense. We see things. And what we're going to be doing in the coming weeks is tripling our efforts to notify every business in Southeast Florida that we need to keep our kids safe and we need to be eyes and ears, a second layer of defense, if you will, for law enforcement. We have organizations like the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce that's been working on this for years. They've activated their members in this region. And if they see something, they're going to say something. And so, again, I wanted to be here today to protect the kids and to help throw our support behind the Attorney General and law enforcement. This is a big opportunity for Florida. All eyes are going to be on Miami. And we need to show the world that Florida is the safest place in America, and we need to do it right here, right now, by protecting our kids. So thank you.
I want to say, when I've been able to talk to a lot of people that have been victims of trafficking, that have suffered abuse and have gotten on their feet and really turned their lives around, there's almost always a person that was there and pulled them out of it. People hear human trafficking, and a lot of people still think of the movie Taken, where, a white van shows up and throws a bunch of people in and drives off, and, you're in another country before you know it. And that does happen. That is real. But that's not the normal situation. Human trafficking typically begins where young people are troubled. They're either suffering in the foster care programs or become homeless or in an abusive family environment. And they go out, looking for money, looking, for quick ways to procure drugs. And before you know it, they fall victim to older individuals that are very sophisticated, that promise them riches and wealth and a great lifestyle. And then all of a sudden they're just in a drugged up life where every day becomes a blur and they're afraid and don't know how to get out. And oftentimes I hear people say it was a small business owner, somebody that just realized they were struggling and gave them a job and brought them in, made them part of the family, actually empowered them, actually helped them earn a living and gave them that, that grace to turn their life around. So I think more people can be helpful in this complicated topic than realize. Next, we've got Lizzie from Uber, and they're going to be interacting with a lot of people in Miami here this summer, and just another example of where businesses and employees have an opportunity to save lives.
Good morning, everyone. I want to start by thanking Attorney General James Uthmeier for convening this vital discussion. Your leadership in combating human trafficking has made Florida a safer place for residents and tourists alike to move around the state, especially as we get ready to welcome the World Cup games and hundreds of thousands of fans to Miami this summer. At Uber, we know that with this surge in travel comes a heightened responsibility. Major sporting events present both a challenge and a critical opportunity to increase awareness around human trafficking and to equip everyday citizens with the tools to take action. That is why Uber is proud to stand alongside our community, law enforcement, and civic leaders today ahead of the games this summer. Our approach is guided by a simple premise: awareness saves lives. For many travelers, an Uber ride is part of their journey in a new city. That puts our platform in a powerful position to raise awareness around human trafficking and, with the help of our riders and drivers, make an impact. This summer in Miami, we are turning that commitment into action through several key initiatives alongside our incredible partner, It's a Penalty, that is leading the way on human trafficking awareness ahead of major global sporting events. First, we are delivering education materials to our Miami earners to help them to identify the signs of human trafficking, and importantly, to be able to report it to local resources or directly within the app. Second, we are integrating these educational resources directly into the Uber app, ensuring the signs to look for and important information on reporting remain top of mind throughout the tournament. These just-in-time efforts build upon our ongoing education around human trafficking because we've seen how effective Uber drivers can be in being the eyes and ears on the road. Since 2025, all new Uber drivers receive information in identifying and reporting human trafficking as part of their mandatory personal safety training. We believe that by educating our community on the signs of exploitation, we can turn every Uber trip into an opportunity to protect the vulnerable. In addition to our education efforts, I also wanted to highlight Uber's always-on safety features that protect Uber riders and drivers on every trip, beyond the games. Key features include the ability to share your trip with loved ones, GPS tracking to detect if a trip has gone off course, as well as the option for PIN verification that riders can opt into. We encourage riders and drivers to explore these features ahead of the games to see how they are protected on every trip. I actually encourage everyone after this press conference to explore the safety icon within the Uber app under Account and see all the options that are available to turn on during your Uber trips. Lastly, I wanted to mention our important partnerships with law enforcement. Our dedicated public safety liaison team at Uber is made up of experienced former law enforcement professionals from around the world who work closely with law enforcement to resolve critical incidents and support complex investigations. We also have a secure portal that can be accessed at alert.uber.com. That's LERT.uber.com, which is available 24/7 for law enforcement and public health officials to make emergency requests and get rapid responses from us. Once again, thank you to Attorney General Uthmeier for your relentless leadership in combating human trafficking across Florida and for uniting this powerful coalition today.
All right, thank you. Now we have Erin Collins.
Thank you, General. As the General said, my name is Erin Collins, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Florida Alliance to End Human Trafficking. The Florida Alliance was created by the legislature a handful of years ago to work with industries across our state to increase awareness, focused on prevention and training. We're also providing grants to law enforcement as they identify and rescue victims of trafficking. Oftentimes human trafficking is a crime hidden in plain sight. It happens in communities across our state, and that's why awareness is key and a powerful tool. As Florida welcomes international events, including FIFA competitions in 2 weeks, we will see visitors from all around the world. These events bring tremendous economic and cultural benefits, but unfortunately, they do create opportunities for traffickers to exploit vulnerable individuals. That's why vigilance and community safety and awareness are so important. The good news that preventing human trafficking is not just the responsibility of law enforcement. Every Floridian and every individual plays a key role. Protecting our communities starts with knowing the signs. Maybe someone who appears fearful, controlled by another person, unable to speak for themselves may need help. Trafficking often involves coercion, manipulation, and exploitation. It doesn't always look like the dramatic scenes portrayed in entertainment. We encourage residents and businesses, visitors, hospitality professionals, transportation workers to get training and to report suspicious activity. If something doesn't seem right, report it. Do not directly intervene. Instead, call the Florida Human Trafficking Hotline at 855-FLA-SAFE. Human trafficking thrives when people don't know what they're seeing, but awareness changes that. It turns bystanders into protectors, and together we can make Florida a place where exploitation has nowhere to hide. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, please visit their website, Alliance to End Human Trafficking, if you're looking for more ways to get involved. Aaron and the team there are doing incredible work. To round us out here, we have Gloria Martinez to talk for a few minutes, and she is a human trafficking survivor who's done some wonderful things to help victims. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for having me. I am here for the kids. I can't say that loud enough. I would scream it if we didn't have all these microphones, okay? A lot of what was said today applies to me and some of it doesn't. I was trafficked as a minor by a minor. I was trafficked by a 16-year-old who I thought was my boyfriend. This is the most common ways that young people are recruited and trafficked here. So I encourage you guys to have these conversations. For me, it was my boyfriend who hung out at middle school with me, who came to the house, who got to know my family, my father being a federal employee, having 3 older brothers, growing up on Old Cutler Road in a $1 million home, and it still happened to me. Nobody knew. It was 5.5 years that I was trafficked. I stayed silent for 22. There is no reason for any of our children or women or men and boys to be quiet for 22 years. We have to have the conversations about what trafficking looks like. You know, we talk a lot about the white van. I would rather see the white van coming down the street than the trafficker grooming my child on Roblox, Minecraft, Instagram, Snapchat. I would rather see the white van. We don't see it now. When I was trafficked, we didn't have social media. We just started MySpace. Okay, it was a long time ago. Now we have to have the conversations, and we're building awareness. We have law enforcement, we have our attorney general, we have the state attorney, we have so many people that are backing this effort. But if we at home do not have these conversations, there is no way that our children are going to be equipped to see the signs. They don't talk to you about every text message or every message that pops up in their games on social media or online gaming, right? They don't do that. We need to have the conversation so that they know when to say something. They know the difference between a safe stranger and an unsafe stranger. They know how to protect themselves and come and ask for help. So, I'll give you my 2-second little spiel here. See this book, Reagan's Safety List? I love how you guys are all zooming in. Do it. This is a book for elementary school age children. It talks about safe touch, safe secrets, and safe strangers. It has a blank safety list for parents to complete with their children at home to add to it. I've given you guys a little 101 guide here, okay? Please utilize it. It is available on Amazon. We can talk after. But this is what every family needs. Start the conversation young. This is not something to start when your child is in high school or middle school. Please. I spent 5.5 years trafficked by a minor, and the only reason I got out is because somebody murdered him. If not, I'd still be there. I don't ever see a way that I would have gotten out because nobody knew, and it was a full manipulation down to my family not seeing it. Please have the conversations for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you for your strength and your witness. Again, thank you all for being here as we announce record results over the last year, over 30% increase in arrests, convictions, over 50% more charges from our statewide prosecution office, over 1,600 child predators behind bars. It's no secret why our crime rate is reaching further record lows here in Florida. Fighting trafficking, fighting crime, it's not a political effort, it's not a partisan effort, it's common sense, and we're here to work together with anybody that wants to protect the victims that are out there. I want to thank the state attorney's office for being involved. We recently partnered in a new task force with State Attorney Kathy Fernandez-Rundle. We were able to provide $1.5 million in state funds to go towards additional trafficking investigations and law enforcement work. And I think in the first operation, we've already taken down an additional 15 traffickers through that effort. So there will be more to come. If you're out there, if you want to go after our children, our women, we're coming for you, and you're going to feel the wrath. I assure you that. So God bless you all. Thank you for being here, and I think we've got time for a few. Yeah, you can clap for that. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Sure. No, we're not going to take our foot off the gas anywhere else, and we've got some fantastic task force operations in the Tampa, Orlando areas, your other big metropolitan areas where we do see heightened levels of trafficking. We're surging more resources down here than we otherwise would. We're putting more eyes, more bodies, more undercover agents. We've got a great working relationship with the federal government. They're taking this very, very seriously. We anticipate the World Cup will be the largest human trafficking location in world history. Just the nature of the international presence, the money, the coastline, the entertainment. A lot of people from other countries where laws are different, and they're accustomed to some sick behaviors that might be legal or more permissive there. So we'll be all hands on deck. We'll be fighting hard. We're going to put a lot of bad guys away. Thanks for the question. You have to know what you're looking for. Just seeing, an adult and some kids walking around, for somebody that doesn't know what they're looking for, it might not stand out. And that's why we're working hard with our corporate partners to train employees. If you've got a grown man with a young teenage girl who's dressed very inappropriately, that's kind of going in and out of a trucking stop or something like that, should send up a red flag. And I'd rather have a million false tips and get one right than have people be afraid to speak up and have abuse continue to happen, right below our noses. But hoteliers, ride shares, public transit places, intermodal areas, these are hubs of traffic where we tend to see signs of trafficking. Yes, ma'am.
I have two adults with autism, high functioning autism, and I agree 100% with what you say. I would like for you to consider adding to the vulnerability of adults with developmental disabilities. They are vulnerable targets. I speak from knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, the question is, can we include an emphasis on adults with autism and disabilities? They are more vulnerable. Could not agree with you more, and we will rally the troops to, I know they're already focused on that, but we'll turn up the volume. Yeah, thanks. Yes, ma'am.
May I ask another related question regarding your NFL investigation?
Sure.
I know that the NFL has said it's engaging with your office on the Rooney Rule investigation. What is next on the investigation, and how do you gauge their current response on it?
Sure. Well, I know they've already removed some of their, race-based quotas and assistant coaching positions, which most certainly violated Florida civil rights laws. They still have parts of the Rooney Rule in place that require interviewing coaches of a certain color before hiring others, providing, benefits like draft picks to people that have hired people based on certain color. Again, these things violate Florida civil rights law. We believe in merit, not discrimination based on the color of one's skin. They have been cooperating. We're gathering information on their employment practices, how many times these occurrences have taken place, and we will, pursue litigation where necessary to enforce the law. Sure. I don't think anybody in Florida, the state leaders included, want rising costs, utility bills, and things associated with data centers. I mean, a lot of these are going to be local government development decisions. I certainly don't want to pay higher utilities for a data center. I'm really focused on the child protection aspect. Under Florida's consumer protection laws, we see major problems. We also see deceptive advertising, telling parents that these products are safe when we now know well they're not. The statistics are pretty daunting. You have over 70% of teenagers having reported to use an AI bot like ChatGPT to seek companionship. You have over 20% of preteens utilizing an AI bot. So they're accessing it. ChatGPT has been operating knowing that there are harms taking place, knowing that kids are exposed to risk, and nevertheless not implementing serious parental controls and protocols. And what have we seen? We've seen countless examples of people, including minors, using ChatGPT to get advice and encouragement on how to hurt themselves, how to commit suicide, how to engage in very violent acts. Last month, we launched a criminal investigation after it became evident the shooter in the FSU shooting from last year had gone back and forth extensively with ChatGPT, trying to figure out how to get attention. If I kill myself, will that get national attention? If I shoot somebody, will that get national attention? And you have ChatGPT telling him how many people he probably needs to shoot in a school shooting in order to get national attention. What type of gun to use, what ammo goes with what gun, looking at pictures of guns, how to turn off the safety, telling him where to go on campus at what time to run into a larger number of people. That should scare everybody to death. Yesterday I announced other examples, and it was not an exhaustive list, where ChatGPT is being used to talk about conspiracies where a mom might be trying to poison me, and it's encouraging the behavior. It mimics empathy. It mimics human tendency to facilitate and encourage behaviors even when they are dangerous and criminal. So we're not anti-business here in Florida. I think people know that. We got one of the largest economies in the world. We're proud of it. We want to get government and burdensome regulations out of the way. But when it comes to public safety and harms to kids, it's important to be out on the front end. There has to be oversight. There has to be regulation. These are some of the smartest people in the world. ChatGPT knows how to analyze and manage data, I think, better than most. They can certainly step in and protect our kids.
Just to be clear, those 1,600 arrests you mentioned, those were during the last calendar year period?
Over 1,600, the number's going up, every day. Thankfully, we're over 1,600. That's since I've been in office, so a little over a year. Sure, yeah. Where people violate the Second Amendment here in Florida, where they're not allowing the right to bear arms in public places, we will step in. We did send them a letter. I do believe there's going to be some shifts in behavior. We'll have more to announce on that very soon. Thanks for the question.
Are you planning to release the report on the Hope Florida issue at all?
You guys know I'm not allowed to talk about something. What I'll say is that nobody did anything wrong. Everybody's been totally vindicated. The nature of a grand jury proceeding, which I'm not even allowed to talk about if it exists, I'm not allowed to talk about it. So are you baiting me into violating the law? Are you trying to? No, really. Are you trying to elicit criminal activity? Now, this is a partisan sham. It's a joke. Everybody knows that by now. I've said what I can say, and you know it. So thanks for the question. Yeah.
Yeah, there have been reports that alligator at Alcatraz could close as early as June. Is that time accurate? What would happen to the people that you came there?
I can't really answer those questions. This is a federal program working with the Division of Emergency Management. What I'll say is that it was always supposed to be a very temporary facility. Temporarily stood up while the federal government was trying to get resources, was trying to stand up its mission to then ultimately, take on this mission themselves. the big beautiful bill was funded. I know ICE has been deployed and has stood up their own locations and resources. So it's very natural and expected that it should start to wind down. I do think long-term plans to continue using the runway for other criminal alien detentions in the surrounding parts of South Florida would be likely, but you'd have to ask Homeland Security that question. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.